Here we go. All right, today on the Tom Kelly Show, you know her from Charles in Charge. You know her from Baywatch. My childhood crush, Nicole Eggert, is here. Let's start the show.
The Tom Kelly Show.
And then I make people listen to the theme song. Your lack of dancing is noted. Your lack of moving along to the theme song is noted and concerns me about where this interview is going to go. But right now, trigger warning, spoiler alert, Charles is not in charge of this one. You are experiencing the Tom Kelly Show. What you are listening to right now is the culmination of my 1980s childhood dream combined with my 2010 mission with my friend and former guest Steve Berger to make contact with Nicole Eggert. Now, Nicole Eggert, you know her from Baywatch, Charles in Charge, you know her from a million other TV appearances over the years, but the side story is, without giving you her whole history, at one point, someone named Nicole Eggert pops up on the early days of Facebook. And I have a couple of in common friends with her. And my buddy Steve Berger has a couple in common friends with her. And then there was a game, who could get Nicole Eggert to add them on Facebook. And sadly, she added Steve Berger and not me. And years later, I've been following her stuff, and God, she this is the podcast for those of you who are new. This is a podcast where one comedian, Tom Kelly, who used to work at Good Morning America and The View and do warm up at a billion TV shows. My career falls apart. I'm trying to recapture my former glory in some way, shape, or form as I look at the next chapter of my life. And I read Nicole's thoughtful posts on Facebook, and I think, crap, this is a person who I think had everything in life and may still have everything in life, a great family and previous fame, and maybe she's in the same damn boat as I am and a lot of my listeners here are. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Nicole Eggert. Nicole, I'm going to go with this first question here.
Okay.
All right, this, and I think this will lead the conversation here, is you got to have a lot of weirdos asking you to be on podcasts every day. What made you pick this one? And that will probably guide us down the road.
Well, I do have a lot of inbox. And the thing is sometimes you can tell just by the writing, just by the grammar.
Can you?
Yeah. And I'm kind of a grammar freak anyway. So certain things will like trigger me and I'm like, nope. And then other times I just don't have the time or the interest, but I don't know. I liked your approach. I was like, yeah. And then I watched some and why not?
All right, I'll take it. By the way, I just want to point out my grammar is just as good in J-Lo's inbox and I got nothing. So I'm just saying good grammar doesn't get you everywhere.
No, it doesn't. But bad grammar can definitely take you out.
Oh my God, we'll do the creepy stalker questions later. But right now, it's focused on the happy. Where, I guess, what do you? I mean, I don't want to rehash every damn credit you've ever had. I mean, you were an actress starting out of the damn womb. Like what you did a Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo commercial at birth. I mean, let's put Baywatch on the side. Let's put Charles in Charge on the side. But you talk about something that affects your brain, that out of the womb, your mom and dad are putting you on TV, and quite frankly, you're doing great at it. What expectation does that set you up for in life? Does that, like for me, I'm looking for something to fill my hole. If you don't, like I performed for large crowds of live TV studio audiences. And I always say the crowds of 200 people clapping for me was just enough to fill the holes for whatever is missing in life. And I'm going through something where I'll argue I'm missing that. I'm missing that. You had frankly, a bigger level of success starting at a much earlier age than me. I didn't hit puberty till 32. What is it like to start life being famous? Am I saying that right?
I don't think you know any different, right? So
Okay.
you're kind of just living life as it's coming to you. And you when you're so young, I think you accept like what's around you as normal, if that makes
Okay.
sense. I think that people, when you however you grow up, you think it's normal until you get to an age where you're like, "Whoa, wait a second, that wasn't so normal." You
Okay.
know,
Did you hit an age where you said, "Oh my gosh, that wasn't so normal"?
I mean, I'm still kind of there, if I'm gonna
Are
be
we owning our ages? I just turned 40 about 7 years ago.
well, I turned 100 about 3 years ago.
Okay.
I'm
Uh,
51.
you're 51.
Yeah.
What does your life look like now? I think that's an easy one. What does your life look like now? Because
Um, it's like I'm sort of, struggling with like I'm a mom to 2 girls, but I had them 13 years apart, so it's like raising 2 only children. My youngest, my oldest is 25, my youngest is just turned 12 and is just getting to the place of she doesn't need me 24/7, but then she does need me, she's at this funny age. So I really have to start thinking about what my next chapter is. I kind of gave up everything to raise her because I did it as a single mom, and I just wanted to, I cashed in on a few investments and I said, I'm just going to be a stay-at-home mom and raise my girl because this is going to be the last one. I love being a mom. It's my favorite thing I've ever done in life.
was being a mom as fulfilling as acting and fame?
I think it's more fulfilling. I
Yeah.
really, I learned unconditional love through it. I adore them. They're amazing children. So they're also my best friends. They make me very proud. Baywatch was something I sort of fell into, and it wasn't something I went after, and it's something I actually quit and left because I wasn't enjoying it that much. So, it's hard to compare. Have I enjoyed my career? Absolutely. Does it, get me through life and give me purpose? Absolutely. So, I was thinking about heading back into it and then everything went on strike.
Okay, so I guess so it's funny. I get mixed messages. I feel like you're a woman on a quest for answers. Is that or you're looking for a next chapter? Is that fair?
I'm definitely looking for a next chapter. I don't know if that's acting or not. I've brainstormed for the last 12 years being at home with my little one as to what do I want to do? What do I want to be? And, not having really gone through proper schooling, I don't have a whole lot of experience with a lot of things. So,
So
I was set school.
what was your education? You did junior high in normal junior high. Like
Yeah,
1 to 9 were normal or 1 to 8 were normal?
fairly normal. I would call it fairly normal for this industry. And then I didn't do any high school in any, I was completely schooled on set.
Okay.
So, it's a little bit like I always make fun of it. It's like I say I was set schooled. Like, every time I say something stupid, I'm like, you have to forgive me. I went to school on set. So, and then I didn't really do any college. I took a couple film classes at like UCLA Extension, but I don't have any kind of experience with anything like that. So I'm a little lost and I'll start to think, okay, I might get into this. And then I lose interest pretty fast. And I always come back to acting. I always, it's what I know. It's what makes me happy. I know how to work with it. So I felt like, I'm going to give this another shot.
So your sentence, take the word acting out and change it to comedy, and that's where I am. Like I'm going through this thing of uh and and forgive me if I screw up the credits or the right shows right. But one, I hate being defined by the credit. I hate being defined as this is the guy who warmed up the crowd. Like, you've seen him on, that drives me nuts. Cause one, I inflated half my credits. I haven't done a Comedy Central. I mean, I have done stand up on TV once for real at The View. And then if I did it in clips, it's whatever. I mean, I'm proud of the things I've done. There are things that I wanted to do that I never quite got to. But it's funny. And the great thing about the pandemic for me was it forced me to stop. I was working 80 hours a week uh, I was finally making good money. I really had a plan of if I could work for 4 more years, which I don't know if I would have lasted. But if I could have made the money I was making, I could put the money in the bank and then glide on investments. And that
Okay.
came to, I'm not poor. I might have enough money to buy a house almost. I still make money ghost writing for morning radio shows, so I'm by no means destitute, single ladies listening to the show right now. But I'm missing the glitzy end of my career.
Got it.
It's funny. I just got off the phone with my shrink or to Zoom with my shrink, and he said, God, you seem well adjusted. I'm like, well, yeah, that's because I opened for Tim McGraw on Friday. But I got one more big event on, it's funny. Like I had it was the external fame, and it wasn't even fame. I'm the opening act. Nobody remembers my goddamn name.
I
Uh,
get it.
you know what I'm saying? But I keep coming back to comedy, even though comedy is an elusive girlfriend, or elusive lover to make this gender neutral. Um, you know, did you choose to stop your career, or did you find the work drying out? And is that a rude question? If so, I'm sorry, and I'll never ask a mean question again.
I don't think I ever really pursued it. It was not like a
Really?
thing that I auditioned for a lot. I really don't have a lot of experience auditioning, even maybe for periods of time. But I and maybe that's where I kind of went wrong in my career, is that I kind of took what came to me, but that's how I lived my life. So I didn't really know any better. It was always, this is what you're going to do. And here's this and here's that. So, I did that. And then, when I got pregnant, that's kind of a showstopper. you know, that's
Okay.
kind of like, okay, we're going to take some time off. And then, like the first time I had my first daughter, I thought, I'm going to have this baby. I'm going to go straight back to work. And that's going to be that. And it just wasn't. You can't predict where your life is going to go. I fell in love with her. I didn't want to leave her. I wanted to raise her. I didn't want her raised by nannies. I didn't want to miss anything. And I felt that way again with the second one. So I guess it's by choice.
No, and that's a good no, that's a good answer. See, like for me, I feel like my big problem in life being a gorgeous single man is I don't know where to point the ship while I wait for things to happen to me. Like what I love about your career, I have kind of been into you since you did Splash is one thing. You did a diving reality show. We'll put that on the side. But you also opened an ice cream truck.
I
And,
did.
and do you still run that? Do you still own an ice cream truck?
I don't. It was mostly for my daughter, my oldest, who wanted a summer job and she wanted experience. And I said, you can go get a job or we can create something and you can be your own boss, learn how to start a business. And it was always something that why the ice cream truck is mostly it's a cash business, let's be honest.
Okay.
And then second, it was always something that was missing. It was always something that was missing when I was throwing birthday parties because I always did it up for my kids' birthday parties. And I
Okay.
always thought there needs to be a really cute ice cream truck. And
Yeah.
there wasn't. Those didn't exist. There was just those weird vans you see at the park. And I was not
Yeah.
having one of them over at the house with all the kids. So I knew that that was sort of something that was missing. And food trucks were really like they were up and coming and they were
Right.
huge here. So we did it. We just were like, let's go see if we can find a truck and just make this business plan and do this. And we did. And then she graduated high school and moved to New York. And I wasn't going to do it. This
Okay.
wasn't for me. I listen, I did press.
So wait, that was
for
your
it.
that was your daughter's high school job, and you were
Yeah,
face attached to it.
that's right. I got so much publicity by saying, like I did a bunch of shows where I drove it and I pulled up somewhere and we got our money back in like 2 months. If you want me to be honest,
Yeah.
people booked it. It was booked all the time and mostly for private events because that was the goal behind it. It never drove down the street, with the
You weren't ringing the
ding-a-ling-a-ling
bell
song.
when
Yeah, no.
the neighbors complaining.
No, there was never that. We did go a couple times and park at events so that we could learn, you know, what works, what doesn't work. And she would always have a friend with her. So it would be two teenagers in there. And I would just stand by. You know, we had to work out kinks. It was mostly girls, and we had a generator. And like, how does all of this work? And what do you do when something goes wrong? Because you're dealing with ice cream. You can have a real mess on your hands if anything goes wrong, right?
Right.
So there just was a lot of that. And then, she got the hang of it. They had a routine, and it was great. It was great for, while it lasted.
No, but hang on. But I love that. I love this story. So you have Nicole, the actress, who becomes Nicole, the mom, who is still at some point Nicole, who's looking for what's next somewhere in between. What did those three women learn from being Nicole, the entrepreneur?
Food trucks were really hard.
Okay. All right.
It's not for me. Food trucks are hard. Really hard. And it's like I see, for me, you like the being in front of the audience and all of that stuff. And
Right.
I like the process of things. So I like to come up with an idea and see it go to fruition. Like, that's my favorite thing in life. Um, it's kind of funny because when I finish a project and I get my paycheck, I get kind of bummed.
Really? Do you?
Yeah, I do. I get kind of bummed because I'm like, it's over, So we have to, I have to think of something else. But so that's why I've been producing a Baywatch document. I've been producing on a Baywatch documentary for, God, we started before the pandemic. So it's been 4 years now.
Now, what does a Baywatch documentary look like? I mean, it sounds stupid, but you said you quit the show because you got drafted for it because you were what? You were like the hottest thing on Charles in Charge, right?
Right.
And you're 18-ish.
Yes.
And you wind up on Baywatch.
I wind up on Baywatch because Baywatch, just like Charles in Charge, was on a network and then it was canceled and brought back in syndication.
That's right.
So the producers of Baywatch went to the producer of Charles in Charge because he was one of the first to do it successfully, and wanted to know the ropes. And he said he would do it with them if there would be a spinoff. And I would be part of that spinoff. It would be like teenagers at a high school at the beach, sort of 90210-esque meets Baywatch young. And so that was the plan. And so a lot of the Charles in Charge crew, we all just switched over to Baywatch when Charles in Charge ended. And it didn't happen. After we shot that first year in syndication, it blew up so big. The producers didn't want to do any kind of spinoff. They wanted to keep it exactly the way it was. And we did a couple episodes that were supposed to be the spinoff, but it was never presented as the spinoff. Like, they were doing it to suffice everybody, but it just, after the end of season 2 that I did, after my second season, should I say, I knew it wasn't happening. And I was like, this isn't what I signed up for. And, this isn't what I want. And so I left.
So you just had a great one. I love, without recreating my whole career for you right now, I love that you had the courage to leave something that was good. Did something find you right after?
No, right after I really kind of had my childhood, because I had been working nonstop since 4 years old, really. Yeah. And I was, now in 20 or my early 20s, and I just wanted to sleep in. I wanted to hang out with my friends. I wanted to be able to go about my day and do whatever I wanted to do that day. I wanted to have a birthday where I could celebrate during the day or the night. I wanted to have holidays. And so I just kind of did that and took some time off, and then started doing some other things, smaller projects. But I never really, if I'm being completely honest, I never really went and pursued it heavily. I never really did that. And I think just, and then I got to a place where I was kind of at retirement age. If you think about it, after that many years, you're usually retiring from a career. So, I kind of really just try to enjoy life and like the journey of life and trying to find myself. And people always ask me, what would you have done if you weren't, an actress? And I have no idea. I have no idea because I have no experience with anything else. I wasn't allowed, I wasn't given the opportunity really to explore those options because I was working, and who's going to turn that down? And, so it's just kind of this place of like, yeah, who am I? What am I? And I was always really, really very, very shy. So I don't think acting would have been something I would have pursued personally if it was left up to me.
All right, a lot of beautiful thoughts to unpack there. So, no, first thought is you're shy?
I'm not anymore. I was very, very shy. Just horribly shy growing up.
Was there
Horribly.
something that made you not be shy? Like, or
I
a
think
time? When did
I
the
think
genie pop out?
I think that I started becoming less shy after my first daughter because now I have to speak up for somebody else, that I'm not just speaking for myself.
Wait, you're telling me, and this is and this is where I know nothing about nothing. You're telling me you've been on TV, you've done the talk shows, you're interviewing, you've been on television in your goddamn swimsuit, and you're telling me motherhood is what made you be less shy on the inside?
Yeah,
Feel it?
absolutely. Because you're now you're speaking up for somebody else. I don't know, it's different. It just for me, it was just a different thing. And then even more so with my youngest. And now, yeah, because they both were incredibly shy. And my youngest would say to me, God, you just talk to anybody. You just can turn around and just talk to anybody. I've gotten to that place where, I'm not so shy. But it was hard to look back and think of all the things I missed, all the friendships I missed out on, all the social stuff I missed out being so shy.
Yeah, I get that. Now, we're talking about life here. It sounds like, are you happy right now or no?
Yes, I am happy.
You got to work on your Facebook posts a little bit more. You sound sadder in the Facebook posts.
Really? I really have that's why my podcast is called Perfectly Twisted, because what makes me laugh is like dark shit. I like to laugh at the dark stuff. So, to me, that's what's funny. So, that's why I think it gets lost in translation over
Okay,
text.
I have notes about your podcast, by the way. I could
Okay.
just listen to you. I know podcasts need celebrity guests, but I could just listen to you talking to your podcast co-host for hours. You don't need guests. In fact, what I have
Okay.
found is you will start telling a great story. And actually, can I impersonate your podcast for a second? You're
Sure.
talking to your podcast is like great story, really interesting thing, really interesting. Sorry, we got to stop. I'm sick of talking about myself. We have Potsy from Happy Days here. That's an actual episode.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, the Potsy interview was great, but you were like, holy crap, you got me hooked. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Let's talk to Potsy.
It's funny because I get notes on both people. A lot of people like having the guests.
Oh, the guests are great. And
Yeah.
I find a guest is interrupting a different form of greatness.
That's
It's like, because being blunt, only you in the era you grew up in. I mean, in New York, it was like, and it might have been like Charles in Charge at 5:30, Happy Days at 6 on Channel 11. So, like, to hear you talk to the guy who was on at 6 is interesting to me. That said, that great interview is interrupting a different great conversation. Is that fair?
Yeah,
I'm
fair.
not going to make you
Definitely
cry with
fair.
that criticism, but I want to hear
No,
some
because
solo
we're
shows.
not gonna have a guest every episode. There's gonna be some that is just Dave and I. So, because I know some people do like that. I did get a couple comments like, I'm just here for Nicole. And it was like, oh God, that's so rude. I hope he doesn't,
Oh,
I hope Anson doesn't read this. So we will do some. It will vary, but having a guest is fun too because it takes the pressure off and um it keeps it interesting. I want it to be all over the place. I do not want to have a podcast just talking about me all the time. But
well,
noted.
no, but now talking about you and having fun for a minute. I'm screwing up I was starting to research and then I had to drive 3 hours. I drove out to visit I visit my parents more than any human being should. But I love them and it's a great time. But I also have a place in the city. I'm having trouble integrating. You get both in LA. You get outdoors and like you could do.
Yeah.
In New York, it's like you have a 2 hour highway or an hour long train ride in between. You talk about being single and people approaching you in the grocery store. Did I get this right? Why the hell are
Yeah.
you single? You're gorgeous. You're actually so much more well adjusted than I thought you were going to be. No, you're like centered.
Yeah, I'm centered. It's taken a lot of work. I think that being single was definitely a choice I made. I didn't feel comfortable dating anybody while I was raising my daughter. Like, if I'm not going to leave her to go on auditions, why am I going to leave her to go on dates? All of that seems a little
No,
weird to me.
no, I'm on board with that. As a 47-year-old single man, people say, Tom, why don't you date age appropriate women? And I do. The ones that I date that are the ones that are out there that are my age are generally, if you're a single mom and you have time to leave your kids to hang out with me, you're an awful human being.
Well, you know, so, and
Not
I always,
that, but
I always just feel like if it's meant to be, I'm not ever gonna go looking for it. And LA is like such a strange place to date. It's
oh, you
you
grew up
know,
there though. Now, to your point of you don't know it's strange if you know it. Is LA strange to you?
well, is LA strange? Well, it's home to me. I mean, it definitely feels like
Yeah.
home. So, there's strange, but it feels comfortable. But I know that, excuse me, I know that dating is painful in LA, and I've seen it, I've experienced it, I hear about it, and so it's just something that's been on the back burner for me. And listen, I honestly felt like if I met somebody in my 50s and I spent the rest of my life with them, that's a long time.
Well,
That's a long time.
that's my big theory with my new therapist. I've switched therapists. I've gone from Dr. Cheryl to Dr. Jim. My listeners have been following all that. I've gone from Mondays at 4:45 to Tuesdays, and I'm not giving the exact time because I don't want notes. I was getting notes before therapy. Hey, Tom, hope you enjoy therapy this week. And I'm like, maybe I'm a little too out there with that. But back to me. Yeah, my therapist theme right now is what do you want to do with the second half of your life? All the great things that have happened to me were things that happened while I was trying, like even my stand-up career. I was working at Rosie O'Donnell's show, got laid off, couldn't find work, and just started casually doing stand-up. Now, for you, are you aiming for a producing career? Like, how do you aim for it? Like, you're the most centered actress I have talked to. You're not obsessively auditioning.
No.
You're not calling your agent every day saying, where's my work? But you seem open to it while you're doing other things.
I don't even have an agent at the moment. I only recently got a manager. I mean, I really walked away. I don't think I've been on an audition in probably 25 years or
Wow.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yes, and I read a lot of self-help and I do a lot of things to try to help with my spirit, and it
Okay.
over and over it always says stop thinking so hard and it will come to you.
Yeah.
But and I do that and I do that, but I can't help it. I'm an overthinker. I'm such an overthinker. So I'm really that part I have to I'm trying to work on that part of not overthinking and like really just letting it go and seeing if any answers come to me.
Okay. So we talk about self-help books here a lot. What's your
Okay.
favorite, or actually, I'll ask you too, your favorite, and do you have a most useful self-help book that you've read so far?
Um, for me, in the very beginning, when I first realized I needed therapy, I got I think it was called because I gave it away to somebody, Embracing the Inner Child.
Okay.
So that was like my starter, and it was like so eye-opening to me and so life-changing. So that was like kind of where I kick-started it. And then I have a daily affirmation book, and it's not just like two sentences. Like you read a page every day. There's a message, and then there's like a mantra, and I find that to be the most useful.
Is it like religious based or just affirmation
No.
based?
No. It's called Promise of a New Day. No, and it's so weird because it's like when I open it, it seems like the message applies. Very rarely is it a little bit like off, but it's usually exactly what I needed to hear. It's
Yeah.
bizarre like that. So I never let go of that book. It looks like it's been through the ocean and back. It is so beat up, but I can't let it go.
So you
I
read
need
it
it in
every
my
day
life.
and you've gone through a few years with it.
Yeah. And listen, there's days I miss. So that's why I always find it shocking if I've like skipped and then I open it and it's like exactly what was wrong with me that day and what I needed. So it's like my Bible. I know people do that with the Bible. They feel like a message or a
Yeah.
sermon or something speaks to them. I'm not religious. So this is like my Bible.
No, and that's good. It's spiritual, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I I'm aspirationally religious, but I keep missing. I had a great no. I think a lot of this stuff, a lot of religion is finding a priest, pastor, or rabbi, or minister, or whatever word you want to use that you get along with. I had a great priest for 10 years of my life. I had a Lutheran pastor I liked for a while. I was going to a church Hillsong for a bit, but they're a little, they're cute.
We've all seen the documentary.
Yeah, I haven't yet. But I need to see it. I know the documentary exists in that, but they have great speakers, and I think I can detach, but yeah, but I think you can get spiritual in different books. So I don't think you should feel, don't feel bad for that. Spiritual's good.
Yeah, no, I don't feel bad. I just, and I get why people are religious. I get the relationship part and the speaker part and, having faith in something. I just can't get past what the books or what's actually written in the books. I just, and the thought of, certain things. I just can't go there. So I can't really take it serious. So I stick with like spiritual stuff.
All right. So I'm going to tell you I'm going to switch gears hard for a second. We're going to talk about finding love. And I'm going to really tell you a story because I want to chunk this down to a TikTok, if that's okay.
Okay.
But back to you in the ice cream truck and finding love. I'm from a town called Massapequa, Long Island, where we had an ice cream woman. Her name was Lisa. All the kids loved her. She was the ice cream woman when I was a kid, and everybody loved her. And there was another ice cream man who drove an ice cream van named Lenny. And at one point, Lisa and Lenny got married. They merged their ice cream industries and they lived happily ever after, though I'm hearing rumors they're divorced, but why ruin a great story with that?
I love that.
Did you find anybody flirting with you when you were on the ice cream truck? I mean, it was that.
No.
It's different. Was there a chance of finding love on an ice cream truck? Because that would have been a book and a Hallmark movie for you.
No, I didn't. Listen, I didn't spend a whole lot of time on that truck. So it wasn't like, it wasn't like I was out the window talking to people all the time.
Damn it. Oh, worst ice cream truck ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't me. It wasn't me doing it. Some sets I went to, I would go because I didn't want anything weird to happen with the kids. I didn't want them being on set without, an adult. So I would go. But normally it was just the kind of their thing. I would help them book the parties and then they would go.
Oh, yeah. And the rumor is Lisa broke up with Lenny because Lenny turned out to be a Mr. Softy. That will work in New York. That joke will work in New York. Anyway, back to me being dated. But for real on the dating front, like it's funny, like I want it on days that I don't want it. Like it's actually my vice. It's funny, you would have been very attractive to me if you still owned the ice cream truck because I would have married you and just lived in the ice cream truck. My vice at 11. Like I have a vice from 11 to 11:30 where I crave ice cream the way alcoholics crave booze.
Oh, really? Oh.
But that's, where was I going? Oh, but like for real now, I got two deep questions and I'll let you off the hook after this.
Okay.
Though I'm having a great time. We could also just ramble for hours, but I'll end the show after these two big questions. I feel the sense of I can close this with a button. Okay. One, how do you, in the moments where you may crave dating somebody, how do you meet somebody? And can you really meet somebody? Because, without being a jerk here, it's like, oh, she was on TV in the 90s, like you come with a certain amount of, I find even I come with a certain amount of expectations. I can only imagine that's harder for you.
Yeah, I would imagine so, and I also think it comes with a bit of, where people are they think that they shouldn't approach you. Do you know what I mean? So I always feel like if and when I meet the right person, it will just, like, happen organically, and it will be, like, just 2 people meeting and talking and, like, being at the same place at the same time. Because if I can't go, like, on a dating site because forget it. I could get myself killed, you know what I mean?
I disagree with that, but we'll put that on the side for a minute. Well, you know,
Okay,
or I don't know. I think it's another bar. Maybe it's different for you, because you don't want someone dating your resume.
right.
But
Yeah, I don't
I'm
want
going to
somebody
argue you can meet just as crazy people. In fact, I detached from the dating websites for a bit, and I found I was meeting crazier people in person.
in person.
Yeah.
Well, I think the thing for me is that they might recognize me, like, on a dating site, it might be recognizable, whereas if you just meet somebody in person and, like, you have chemistry, then it's just normal. That's what I have. It might be crazy, and I might be completely wrong, but that's my train of thought of why I've never gone on a dating site.
Okay. Now, you said a interesting thing there where you feel like people feel like they shouldn't approach you. What should people, maybe like me, who see someone they feel like they shouldn't approach, should they not listen to that vibe, not just dating wise, but socially? Like you sound like someone who feels like who you sound like someone who wants to be approached,
Yeah,
but people, but
I'm
you
super friendly these days. Yeah, I'm friendly, I'm
wait,
approachable.
these
These
days
days,
sounds like you weren't at some point.
the key. Yes, I wasn't. Absolutely not. Definitely shut off completely. So, it wasn't something I always craved. So I just, now I'm open. Now if I meet somebody, great, and it'll work. I don't want somebody and I could be totally wrong. See, this is stuff I just make up in my head, but I'm thinking, like, I don't want somebody in my space all the time. I don't really
Mm,
I
yeah.
don't know how it works about, now changing the way your day works or your life works to involve somebody else. I'm not sure if, I'm doing more damage by staying single longer because I'm, more set in my ways and, like, right now my life revolves around my kids and that's or my youngest at least. So it's hard for me to understand how I would change that.
So it's funny. My shrink thinks I'll be great in a nursing home. Like I'll be great in the 55 and up community. Like it'll be like I won't have a girlfriend. I'll have a companion, a lady friend, if you will.
A lady friend. That's pretty funny, actually.
This is my lady friend. Like I think I'm gonna be one of those like you ever meet like a widowed grandma or grandpa who has a friend who's also widowed, but they won't
Yeah.
admit they're banging.
Yes. That's I mean, I don't know any per se, but I have heard this.
I
Yes.
think you're gonna be great at that.
I'm gonna be great at that. Possibly. Or a man, because I definitely don't want more kids, and I don't want somebody my age that has kids my age. I don't want that. I want somebody a little bit older than I want them to have grown kids or never wanted kids. But if they never wanted kids, then they're never gonna understand what my life is really like. It's there's a lot of complications because my even my friends that love me and think they understand my life, they don't get it when they're calling me at 9:30 at night to go out. I'm like, it's freaking school night. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. My phone, everything shuts down at 9:30. I'm not, where am I going? I'm not going anywhere. I do carpool in the morning.
Okay.
Um,
That last minute you just hit there is why I think I'm going to die alone right there. Because, people say, hey, Tom, why are you dating 30-year-old girls? Or why are you dating? I lusted for and knew it was not realistic. Somebody who was in their 20s last week. And the person was smart, vibrant, went to an Ivy League college, athletic, and frankly, 100 times more mature than the 53-year-old I had gone out with last month. So just I
Interesting.
mean, I hate that line, age is a number, because I don't want to be creepy guy, but age does not guarantee maturity for men and women. Now,
No, not at all. Wait, do you have kids?
no, and this is the interesting thing is I never want to say out loud, I don't want to have kids. God forbid I knock someone up or get a surprise in a couple of years on a, 23 and me, which by the way, I'm asking all my relatives to stay off of. But
That's funny.
But for, you know what, I never quite felt, I think I would have been a good dad. I always felt like I wanted to meet the person I wanted to have kids with before having kids. Like I like
Sure.
like I don't want to go adopt. Like, like, I mean, you're a single mom. I have no urge to go be a single dad.
Right.
You know, um,
Yes.
though I know that was thrust upon you, or I'm assuming it was thrust upon you.
You know, I knew both times, and after I did it the first time, I said, I'll never be a single parent again. You can never say never. It just because it'll bite you right in the butt, just as you were saying, right to your point. But I knew I didn't want to be in that relationship, but I didn't realize, and this is something that I have to self-reflect upon of why this happened with two guys that were all, they both were like an all or nothing. We're all in or I'm out of here. Like, I come with the package too, or they don't want anything to do with any of it. And I did that twice.
Yeah. So, you know what? I mean, and this is where I get into my own skittishness of, I know I want to be loved. I
Uh-huh.
know I would like to spend time with somebody. Um, I, yeah, I could, I'm not, I'm afraid of the stepdad thing because I have hung out with a couple of women along the years where I like the kid better than the mom.
Yeah. I can see that.
Um, and honestly, as I try to figure out, do I really want to be a comedian again in chapter 2, is listen, being a comedian means, hi, I'm leaving the barbecue to go to a barbecue at 9 o'clock at night.
Right.
Oh, and going the other way of why I eat ice cream now is at 9:30 at night or 11 at night, I want to hang out with somebody. And there's nobody around but my two friends, Ben and Jerry. Uh,
Yeah, I get it. But like for me, I don't get lonely because I've got my kids and I've got like friends and like so
yeah.
I don't get lonely. I do sometimes think like what it would be like to have another adult to bounce things off of because you can't talk to your kids about everything. You've got to, some of that you've got to keep to yourself. You have to be the mom. So that's when I feel is when it's like I wish I had another adult to have these deep conversations with.
See, this is where I think you're in a great spot is, and this could segue me towards the end of the interview and watch me be rude for a second. It sounds like you have enough money in the bank that you're not feeling pressure to work every day and that you can let certain things come to you, that you've invested wisely, blah, blah, blah. And that eliminates a certain amount of fear. And what I like about the mom end of your career is you have at least two children. At least one of those two kids sound nice enough to put you in diapers when you're 90.
Let's hope so.
And what I find is I'm not quite at maybe, and this is why I'm a little more angsty and or I love how centered you are, is I'm operating when I'm chasing my dreams with a little bit of fear. Are you without fear? And what is your secretness to owning your singleness and owning your, owning your career?
Well, listen, you talk about the financial part. There are, it would be nice to be a two income household. I'm
Yeah.
not going to lie about that. There are times where that would be really nice. But I don't think that it runs everything, and I'm not going to get into a relationship because of that. That's not going to be like a driving force to go get involved in a partnership. Um, and it's what was the other part?
No, I guess no, but like it's funny. I work 5 jobs because I'm in a single income situation.
Right.
And honestly, if you had talked to me the day January 2020, if you had told me, Tom, 4 of your jobs are going to lay you off and may not come back full speed for a couple of years, I didn't think it would be my job working in FM radio. If you had told me, I mean, always thought that would be the first one to go. So I have this angst of, and remember, I was also raised by immigrants. I was raised by, people raised by immigrants. I was raised by people who did not grow up rich and always had an underlying fear of it can all go away at any second.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask, and to be blunt, I'm afraid of dying alone. And is that why I'm chasing love? That's not a healthy reason to chase love. And I guess what I see in you is a lack of fear.
That goes both ways. Sometimes I am scared, but I just feel like through the therapy and all the work that I do, like I think fear is sort of a waste of time. Just like worrying is a waste of time. I don't want to die alone either. And I wouldn't want my kid to change my diaper at 90. I don't want to burden them with that. I want that, you know what I mean?
No, but you have someone to keep an eye on you if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. And obviously not change your diaper. I will
what I mean.
Yeah, but no, but for real, but you do at least have a few people to care about you. And also maybe that's also how I grew up with somebody needs to go drive to visit grandma and grandpa. Someone needs to go drive to visit grandma and grandpa. But you hope presumably will not be without companionship for the rest of your life purely because you have born child. Or am I talking crazy?
No, let's hope not. I mean, I think that my youngest would like to see me be in a relationship, but I don't think that she really would. I don't think she really knows what that means. And I think she does want that for me. We talk about that a little bit. And the older she gets, the more freedom I'll have. Let's just be honest. She's only 12. So, the older she gets, like she's not going to want anything to do with me for a while. Do you know what I mean? When these kids hit their late teens and their 20s, they're like, see you later. And that's when you sort of get your life back. So, I've still got time. And I just, like I said, if I meet somebody in my, let's say at 55 or something like that, and I spend the rest of my life with them, that's a long flipping time. That's a long time. Because if I had got married before, I'd surely be divorced.
Actually, are you undivorced?
I'm undivorced.
Okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. No, it's not been for me. And I've been such a different person at different stages in my life. There's no way any marriage would have worked out. It's been such a journey to get to where I am.
Then you're going to laugh at this joke this is a douchey thing for a guy to say, but I feel like if you're saying it to a successful woman, it's less douchey. The nice thing is you have all your stuff. Like I have all my friends who are divorced, male and female, who built empires together and then had to divide it down the line, and they're both cranky. You got
right.
So you got your stuff. You didn't marry Tom Kelly at age 20 and then realize he was a douche, and then suddenly he's got your game room and your TV set.
That facts. I never thought about that, but facts. And I just never would have been ready, and I knew that about myself. So I think that maybe I'll get to a place where I'm just really ready, and I don't want to get into something until I am, because you just ruin it. It's not going to work unless you're, you know exactly who you are, and you know what you're doing, and you know where you're at. I think that you kind of need to be there.
Last question before we do the plugs.
Okay.
If the origins of this podcast was some form of a self-help podcast, if Nicole Eggert were writing a self-help book, would there be one driving tip that you give to people?
Well, I think I already said it, is that fear and worry is just a waste of time. And if you can quiet the inner noise and just let life happen and let things come to you that are meant for you, I think that's where the answers are.
I love it. Now, the Baywatch documentary, is that coming out anytime soon? Do we want to push that now?
It's in negotiations. We're starting to do some press for it. So it's called it's done. Baywatch, The American Dream. It's a 4-part series. It's great. It's amazing. It's really fun. It started as one thing, completely switched into something else.
Happy documentary, because not you actually. And it's funny. I thought you were going to be. I had so much fun meeting you, and I'm glad to see you're happy and in a good spot. Because one, you look at where some of the trouble some of your co-stars may or may not have had, and two, some of your Facebook posts are just goddamn depressing. But
I love that.
So it's a happy documentary. Will I have fun with it?
You will have fun with it. It goes up and down all over the place. For the most part, most everybody's in a really good place, and they've had this
Good.
roller coaster. It's not going to be anything you've ever seen before. There's not going to be any stock footage photos that you've seen before. It's all going to be people's personal libraries and personal footage and behind the scenes stuff. So it's not going to be anything that's like, it's not an expose. It's not a true Hollywood story. It's not any of that. Like a real look, and it's beautiful. Like it's beautifully, beautifully shot. So it's kind of like what we wish Baywatch would look like if it was shot today. That
Okay.
kind of thing. Yeah.
And now the podcast. Actually, are you working on anything else besides the podcast, or is the podcast seems like I'm really getting a kick out of your podcast?
Thank you. Well, I'm new to it. Obviously, I'm fresh. I thought about doing it, and people kept saying to me, "Do it." And then my friend Dave said, Let's go. Let's just give it a shot. Let's try." And I thought, I don't think I could sit there and talk for an hour. But it's not hard. It's not hard. It's fun. It's social. And I'm just really enjoying it, which I'm a little surprised by, to be completely honest.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for you to invite me to be a guest on it. I know I'm no Anson Williams. Damn it. Anson Mount is on Star Trek. But what do you know? There's two actors named Anson on Earth. But back to me. Yeah, can't wait to be a guest. But anyway, back to me being pushing. You're going to find, too, the nice thing about it is, even if the numbers don't quite go viral, I have found my friends on the podcast, and this is the end of the show where I start doing shout outs, where I start saying to my friend Marianne, who I have not said thank you on the show about, to Marianne, Judy, Diana, Ryan, oh my God, Bert, Steve Berger, and so many other good people who have been good to me. They've helped. It's created a weird cult that I'm addicted to. I set up a little Facebook group. We talk to each other. They're becoming friends with each other. They've given me a couple of job leads, including one that's leaving me hanging because of the strike. I'll tell you when we hit stop. And yeah, I think you'll find, and then I've found breaking this up into pieces, the pieces have been more successful than the whole, which is another weird thing. You watch that ice cream story go viral. It's going to be freak weird. But you're going to love it. I think you're going to be very glad you did it, and I hope you stick with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. So it's not what I thought it would be. It's a little bit more work than I thought it would be. And but I appreciate it, because like I said, I like the process. I like to see something come to fruition. I love all of that. So yeah, I hope to keep going.
All right, Nicole.
Sure.
Don't hang up when I end the podcast, but Nicole, thank you for really being more amazing than I thought you would be. I was really hoping to get 20 minutes out of you, and thank you for your time, and I got a lot out of this. So for everybody listening, every Monday and Wednesday, hit subscribe, show love where love can be shown, comment. Good night, New York. Let me hit stop on the recording. And then
I'm going to say one more lesson is don't see why preconceived notions don't work.
Boom.
Right?
Oh, I got epilogue and I didn't hit stop. Preconceived notions don't work. I love it. All right. Good night, New York.